They said Japan relies too much on technology, that the country survives on screens, machines, and automation, and that without electricity Japan would panic within minutes. People joked online that if the robots stopped working, the entire nation would freeze. But on one bright night, while trains moved smoothly and crowds rushed through glowing streets, one man stood still, watching quietly, as if he already sensed that this belief was about to be tested. The city looked perfect on the surface. Neon lights reflected off glass buildings, doors opened automatically, payments happened without cash, and trains arrived exactly on time. Everything felt efficient, controlled, and mechanical. To outsiders, it seemed obvious that Japan's strength lived inside its technology, not its people. The man walked among the crowd, calm and observant, surrounded by a system that appeared flawless. Then something strange happened. Screens that never went dark began to flicker. Digital signs froze. A distant train slowed unexpectedly. There was no loud warning, no dramatic alarm, just silence slowly replacing certainty. People lifted their heads, confused, because in a city built on constant signals, silence feels like something is wrong. The darkness spread. Phones lost signal. Information stopped flowing. People tapped screens again and again, waiting for instructions that never came. The man stayed still, watching expressions change from busy to uncertain, noticing how quickly people realized they no longer had something telling them what to do. Far from the city, critics felt confident they were right. They expected panic, chaos, and selfishness. They believed the moment technology failed, people would lose control. But what was about to happen would challenge everything they thought they knew about Japan and about human behavior itself. The earthquake came suddenly, violently, without warning. The ground shook like water, buildings swayed, glass rattled, an alarm screamed before cutting out. The man dropped low, protected himself, and felt nature remind everyone that no system, no matter how advanced, controls the earth. Soon after, a tsunami struck the coast. Water rushed through towns, lifting cars, tearing homes apart, and leaving silence behind. News spread slowly and unevenly due to power loss, but fear moved fast. The man saw shock, grief, and confusion, but he also saw something forming beneath it all. Electricity failed across wide areas. Trains stopped completely. ATMs went dark. Traffic lights shut off. Digital signs became useless glass. The city that once felt unstoppable was suddenly forced to function without its usual support. Many expected collapse, but what appeared instead was quiet coordination. At train stations, thousands gathered in darkness. There were no screens to guide them, no automated announcements to follow. Yet people did not push or panic. Lines formed naturally. The man joined one, noticing how quickly people switched from relying on machines to listening for human voices. Railway staff stepped forward with handwritten signs, whistles, and megaphones. They used simple hand signals and clear instructions. It looked old-fashioned, almost outdated, but it worked. Passengers followed calmly, trusting human direction over digital certainty. When trains had to be evacuated, workers guided people step by step. Children were helped first. Elderly passengers were supported carefully. The man reached out to steady someone, realizing that the true system was not the technology, it was a shared understanding of responsibility. Outside, intersections became silent tests. Without traffic lights, accidents seemed inevitable. Instead, drivers slowed down, stopped, and took turns. Police officers stood in the roads, directing traffic with trained gestures. Cars moved carefully. The city breathed again, powered by trust instead of electricity. Inside supermarkets, another challenge appeared. Scanners and payment systems failed. Some stores could have closed, but they did not. Staff used pens, paper, and calculators. Prices were written by hand. Customers waited patiently. The man stood in line, noticing that nobody tried to take advantage of the situation. Money became a problem when ATMs stopped working. Yet communities adapted quickly. Small shops accepted handwritten promises to pay later. Neighbors shared food, water, and batteries. People checked on the elderly and carried supplies without being asked. The man walked through streets where kindness replaced convenience. Evacuation centers filled with thousands of people. There was little comfort and no digital entertainment. Still, there was order. Volunteers wrote names on paper, organized supplies, and distributed food fairly. The man sat among families, listening to quiet conversations and understanding that discipline does not erase pain. It helps people survive it together. Then came the nuclear crisis. Power loss at Fukushima created fear around the world. Many expected workers to flee. Instead, engineers stayed. They relied on manual readings, physical inspections, handwritten notes, and direct communication. Decisions were made without screens. Courage became the most important tool. Inside control rooms, workers calculated, argued, and acted under extreme pressure. Valves were turned by hand. Systems were checked physically. The man imagined those moments and understood that technology may assist, but human judgment decides outcomes when machines fail. As days passed, the world waited for chaos that never truly arrived. Commentators spoke of politeness and culture, but the deeper reason was preparation. Japan lives with disaster as a possibility, not an exception. From childhood, people are trained to respond calmly, not emotionally. In schools, children practice drills regularly. They learn how to line up, take cover, and help others. These routines build confidence, not fear. The man remembered that being ready removes panic before it begins. Workplaces also prepare. Offices keep printed plans. Stations train manual signals. Communities establish meeting points. Homes store emergency kits. What looked outdated was actually reliable. When digital systems fail, physical plans remain. For years, people mocked Japan for still using paper systems and older tools. They called it backward. But during the crisis, those backups proved essential. Japan did not worship technology, it respected its limits. Researchers later studied behavior during the disaster. They found stability, not perfection. Crowd control, supply sharing, and response time showed that preparation mattered more than innovation. The man thought about how stability, not speed, saves lives. In the streets, people waited, listened, and helped one another. They did not need apps to form lines or screens to remind them to care. Small acts of discipline added up to national resilience. International journalists arrived expecting dramatic footage of chaos. Instead, they filmed calm lines, quiet cooperation, and steady leadership. The story they planned to tell had to change. This was not a story without pain. People grieved, searched, and mourned. Discipline did not remove suffering. It simply prevented suffering from destroying everything else. As power slowly returned, many noticed something unexpected. Without screens, people talk more. They noticed faces. They felt human again. The man realized technology makes life easier, but dependence makes life fragile. Even after systems recovered, Japan did not abandon manual readiness. Whistles stayed. Drills continued. Emergency kits remained. The manual tactic was not a temporary response. It was a permanent mindset. That mindset is simple. You do not learn what to do on the worst day. You learn before it arrives. Japan always asked, what if this fails? And prepared accordingly. So when people said Japan relies too much on technology, reality proved them wrong. Japan uses technology, but it does not depend on it blindly. When machines failed, people became the system. In the end, Japan did not shock the world because it survived. It shocked the world because of how it survived, calm, organized, human. And the man, standing again among moving crowds under returning lights, understood the lesson clearly. The strongest system is not the one that never breaks. but the one that still works when everything breaks. Japan did not win with machines. Japan won with people.